foul. Doing it at both ends of the floor. Now Sotto comes with that right-hand skyhook, needed that. I'd say Sydney know they can just put them to the sword if they can get a few more buckets. Suarez does come and have a rest late in this quarter.
Over the outstretched hand of the shot blockers. Something very special.
Now Sotto shows his range. This will favour the 36ers. Frank should be able to finish.
36ers on the offensive end.
Sotto again.
What if we're going to contest for this championship? And
welcome, you're watching the Hungry Jacks NBL, coming to you live from Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney for the first of our Sunday doubleheader between the Kings and 36ers. It's Adelaide who came away with the win last time they were on this floor. Craig Randall was their top scorer on that occasion, but is certainly a different dynamic without him. So the Kings will no doubt be looking to capitalise and set the record straight today.
Well, let's take a look at the champion starting fives. We'll start with the Sydney Kings. Gaze, it's a pretty well-balanced lineup.
It is, and we've already spoken about DJ and what he means. Justin Simon's been very, very consistent, and of course, though, the man to watch is Xavier Cooks.
For Adelaide, the champion starting lineup, there's Nick Marshall. He'll get his second consecutive start in the absence of Anthony Drimmick. And Antonius Cleveland, wasn't he terrific? 15 or more points in 5 straight games, and he was huge on Friday night.
Certainly was, 10 of 18, and stepped up when they needed him the most.
Looking forward to this one. As we said, first of our doubleheader today, Sunday afternoon. It's two teams in a bit of form. Maybe the Kings will have first possession. Stench in the corner. It's going to be an offensive foul. Just raise the elbow. Doesn't like the call. Take a look at the replay. What'd you make of it, Liam?
It was a trap to begin with. And the elbow certainly came up. Maybe a little contact. Derek Walton Jr. sold it and drew the whistle.
Yeah, a little unlucky on that one, I thought. Getting to the rim. It wasn't like he was intentionally throwing the elbow out there. Not to say that that would make any difference, but still.
Here is Cooks again getting to the foul line.
That's the matchup we were intrigued to see today. Cooks, so dangerous in those situations. Off those elbow catches, can face up. And he puts it to the deck and steps across. Puts the onus on the officials, on the defense, and gets to the free throw line.
It was a great matchup, wasn't it, last week? Keanu Pinder and Xavier Cooks, and now he's going at Robert Franks.
Well, the Kings are a little upset in that Cairns game about the amount that they were able to get to the free throw line, and thought that there might have been a bit of a discrepancy in the way the game was officiated with Cairns. And I think you can see the way the Sydney Kings have played, that they do put a lot of pressure on the officials. They love to get to the rim. Oh my goodness, barely hit the rim. And that's one of those little, that's where you know it's in their head. The first one looked good tempo with the shot, nice little follow through. The second one, the whole thing slows down and barely hits the rim. It's, as he goes up, and it's just the tempo of the shot, trying to guide it in rather than shoot it in. And as you see, come up well short. This has been a fantastic defensive effort by the Sydney Kings to hold the Adelaide 36ers to 12. We have seen some complete and utter breakdowns on the offensive end, but overall, defensive end, but overall, Sydney have been packing that paint and making life pretty tough for the Adelaide 36ers.
Here he goes, Franks. His first real crack at it this game, can't get it to fall. Harris now, Adelaide gives it off to Sotto. Some good defense there from Hunter, and then the good little putback.
Stuck with the play. Kai Sotto, really good attack from Hiram Harris. Gave him a punch off the bench on Friday night, and he created that one for Sotto.
Sotto failed to score. Game the other night.
It wasn't one of, he played 7 minutes, and it wasn't one of the best 7 minutes of his career. It wasn't good, and that's when you see a situation like this. Here he is. Now this is his problem. Is how does he keep those more nimble 4s and 5s in front? He can use his length, and he's not a bad shot blocker when he's meeting people at the rim, but when he's got to guard him and slide his feet, that's when he gets in all sorts of problems. So that's an area of his game that he needs to work on because teams are picking on him. Now, the thing about him, if he is guarding Cooks, he's got 5 fouls to give. So they happy for him to use them and see if Cooks can find his rhythm from the free throw line.
He's 2 of 5 at the moment. Make it 2 of 6. Xavier Cooks from the free throw line in his first term.
I think the other part of that conversation, Drew, is that's a bit of a problem for the Adelaide 36ers as a whole. Their front court defense, Daniel Johnson, Robert Franks, Kai Sotto, do they have the ability to handle guys like Xavier Cooks and the impact, the pressure he's going to put on your defense? We know on the perimeter with McCarron and Detch and Antonius Cleveland, they're loaded with defensive-minded players. Can they defend at a high level with their big bodies?
Again, easy dunk for Hunter. His first points of the night.
The right place at the right time. Able to pick up the little fumble.
Here's Sotto, try and show his range. The Kings will get the ball. So scrappy start offensively for the 36ers.
Well, I think the thing is they've had no tempo in their offense. There you see the finish from Hunter as he cleans up the mess underneath. But Adelaide, they want to get up and down the floor. They want to force you into turnovers, get out in transition, wheel and deal a little bit. But the Sydney Kings have been able to keep them into a half-court team in this first quarter, and they've only got 14 on the board.
They're just talking about putting the clock back to 49 seconds. The clock kept running when that ball went out of bounds.
Right now, just in the middle. Bruce, get off and you and X got it. JG to stay there in the middle.
There's Cal Bruton, father of CJ Bruton, one of the all-time legends of Australian basketball.
Travels to every game. Basically, he's at every game, isn't he?
He gets a lot around the country.
He's nearly there all the time.
He gets everywhere, and he's representing the Indigenous jersey.
Of course, this season, with thanks to Latrobe Financial, we're giving away the guaranteed $50,000. You know how to play. Enter now, nbl.com.au/legends for your chance to win. Tick inside the final 30 seconds. Again, Cook's not going to be aggressive.
Killing him. Absolutely tearing him to shreds off those elbow catches.
Johnson, and a couple of looks at it early in that quarter. Couldn't get in the drop, but he does that time. And they needed that one, the 36ers. 9 points for him, good start. And the Kings will have the final possession. And they'll give it to their superstar.
Carry. Just lost it on the spin dribble. And they get called for the carry. Enough time here, you think that maybe you catch one dribble to get a shot off for the Adelaide 36ers.
Silovic comes to the bench, just the 2 points for him, yet to attempt a 3-point shot.
That's where you're trying to get the ball into Daniel Johnson's hands. So crafty at drawing a foul.
It'll be Detch. He's going to draw the foul, so that's sloppy by the Kings.
We've only got 2 team fouls, so create a good look.
DJ, play, love, go.
Let's see what they're going to go with. It'll be Detch. It's enough time to have a good look at it. Just couldn't finish. And it was a good quarter for the Sydney Kings back on their home floor.
And it's just getting to that danger stage now for the Adelaide 36ers. And as we've seen over many, many years, DJ comes up with a big 2.
Just needed that, just to even silence the crowd a little bit.
That's a charge. Not renowned for his defense, old DJ, but that time able to shuffle the puppies and get him in the right spot in front of Xavier Cooks.
You hit him right in the guts. What else are you going to do when you get hit in the guts?
I tend to agree. That is a charge in my book, Liam.
Yeah, he picked the spot. Took it right in the middle. Easy call.
Cooks thought he went down a little bit easy. Said he's a big grown man, but there was enough contact there. 3 minutes left in this first half. Kings have been in control pretty much from the outset. And if it wasn't for this man, Johnson, who knows what the margin would be. 16 points in the first half, and he's keeping them in it.
He is. Big performance thus far, and good action, good easy action. Pick and pop. McCarron finds DJ ready to fire.
Here's Walton, just putting a little shake and bake on Johnson. Another offensive board for the Kings. Cooks couldn't get that one to go. And all of a sudden, Johnson feeling good. He's a heat check. Now on transition, the Kings been able to make the 36ers pay. Adelaide do well this time. Keep possession.
A good effort in defensive transition. The Kings will burn you. Take an early shot like that, they grab the defensive board, they are off to the races. You saw Jalen Galloway get ahead of the pack a couple of possessions ago, but Adelaide there able to get back, get in front, stop the ball.
Daniel Johnson will come off for a well-earned break. 16 points, 3 boards.
We've got the Galloway brothers matching up on each other now. I mean, this is old sort of going back to the backyard type days.
Here's Vasiljevic. And maybe the slump's ended, Gazy. That's a couple now.
One thing you can absolutely guarantee, he's not going to be perturbed by the statistical numbers. He thinks every time he shoots it, it's got a very good chance of going in.
Franks kicks it out to Detch, wide open. Sort of struggling from beyond the arc, the 36ers, 2 of 14. And there is Galloway for the Kings, going right at Sotto. Couldn't get it to fall, and there Franks looking to be aggressive. Goes with that left hand. High off the backboard, gets it to fall.
Good take. Timeout, Sydney. Robert Franks, he's tough finishing with that left hand. And you're right, Joey, they've been struggling from long range, Adelaide, despite getting really good looks. So he puts it on the deck and attacks the rim.
It's been around about this 8-point margin most of the first half after that 7-zip start.
It has threatened to blow out a couple of times. But you're right, they're hanging tough. And that's what they did against Cairns before they eventually made their run.
Frank's going to sit off Cooks. Throws it into Hunter. Puts on a couple of moves. Thought he might have got fouled. And then has a couple of goes at it. In the end, gets the 2 points. Sotto and Detch with McCarron. There's a play for Sotto, who should be able to finish from there. The block from Hunter. If you don't mind, he got up. And here they go, they'll make you pay on transition. DJ.
We'll give that to Hunter. Just the desperation there. It looked like Sotto just getting a little momentum trying to go up with 2 hands and dunk it, and just gave enough time for Hunter to get there.
Karen almost with the turnover. Franks gave it up, wants it back. He wants to go at Cooks, and he'll get the foul.
It's going to be his second personal. Cooks picked up the offensive foul a few minutes ago. Want to go at him every opportunity. We talked about how big it was when he fouled out in the 4th quarter in Cairns. They were in control of that game, 3.5 minutes to go.
They couldn't score when he left. They really struggled to find ways to score.
And you go back to that game, that win the Kings had in New Zealand a few weeks before when he went down with the ankle injury. They were well in control of that game.
Something of the order.
And almost burped it up. So they are a completely different team.
Really sort of getting that stuff all over themselves. But such as what Xavier Cooks brings to the table, he is a genuine game changer for him.
Which is why we talk so much about him in that MVP conversation. Now, the numbers are elite. We know that. And his versatile impact that he can have. But we've been able to see as well how different this team looks when he is compared to when he isn't on the floor.
Of course, missed the 1 game, a couple back. Since he's come back, he's been strong. Just the 4 points in this one so far, but he's been 2 of 6 from the free throw line as we get inside the final 30 seconds. Shot clock down to 10. Walton Jr.'s had an excellent first half. Good feet, finds Galloway, feet set.
Josh Giddey getting into the paint, just the one-handed hook pass to the guy in the corner, punish the helper.
And Franks get it back to 10 points. Fair to say they needed that, the 36ers.
In the field, doesn't really pressure anything, but he never looks anxious out there. He knows he's right, and does his work on the defensive end, and it looks like Derek Walton might have just copped one of the head, but crucial time right now, just before three-quarter time. There's a nice drop-off pass, and Simon with the explosive attack on the rim. Up very high.
Plays his role beautifully. Got some athleticism.
As does Derek Walton Jr., who carried out that drop-off pass. He's out there balling right now. 16 points, 8 assists, closing in on a double-double and just tearing them apart.
Well, I was trying to get down to courtside, see what Brad Rosen's seeing from down there, Brad.
Well, Dewey mentioned this is an important time, and that's what Chase Buford said. We can go right here. Let's get it on the defensive end and let's run. And we saw they came straight out of that timeout and had a great dunk. Interesting couple of minutes. Xavier Cooks has just come off, and we do know that sometimes the Kings can get stagnant on offense. Big couple of coming up.
13 points. That's been that game-high margin a few times in this contest. They've always found a way to respond, Adelaide, but they're under pressure here as Walton Jr. put on some fancy footwork, but good defense from Sotto. Got the block, and Cleveland rejection at the other end. That was Simon again, getting up, doing it at both ends of the floor. Now Sotto comes with that right-hand skyhook, needed that.
Just used his size. He thought that through nicely. Went to the middle and just used it to rise up above Simon. As good as defender he is, when you got that size, you got a 7'2" guy coming at you. Might need a little bit of help.
It feels as though both teams are just lifting their intensity here, Liam. I think Adelaide know how important this period is, and as we just heard Brad say, Sydney know they can just put them to the sword if they can get a few more buckets. Sotto will get the foul. TJ Bruton says thank you.
Really big minutes. Look at this block from Simon. How high is he? Oh my. Couple of athletes in transition, and Simon went to the top level.
He's had to hang there for a little bit too, didn't he? Got there early.
Yeah, no, that was well done. Beautiful timing.
An important last 4 minutes, you feel, of this third quarter.
Geez, it was a quick rest for Xavier Cooks. Back out there, guarding Daniel Johnson.
And Chase Buford knows the importance of these couple of minutes. You don't want to give the 36ers a sniff. They came back from 19 down against Cairns only a couple of nights ago, so they know they can do it. And McCarron works his way to the basket. He's yet to score. He'll get his chance now.
Got stuck in the end between the two big units on the floor for the Kings. Cooks and Suarez closing in. Just did enough to draw the contact and get to the strike.
Suarez with the 3 personals. That's been an issue for him all season long. McCarron gets 1 of 2, flattens the kids who wanted the cheeseburger. Back to 10. Suarez does come and have a rest late in this quarter. Over Sotto, if you don't mind. Oh, he's already got the dunk of the year. He might have just topped it.
Got the top 2 now.
Oh.
Ferocious.
Well, there's a statement. Xavier Cooks. They're defending Johnson at the other end, a step back. Mr. Cool. It's the quick response.
Oh my, we need to get another look at what Xavier Cooks just did to Kai Sotto and that rim.
Eviscerated him.
He cocked it back from a long way.
He does that. We saw that one on Isaac Humphries. He doesn't pick on the little fellas. He goes straight at the big boys. Caught that in the grill there. Kai Sotto, just a hellacious dunk. Yes, sir. We see you, Xavier Cooks. That is special. Didn't have not a lot of runway either. No. Just a little shake and bake from the free throw line, 2 steps, and my glory-filled days. That is a beautiful, beautiful sight. The way you can just bring it back
and
throw it down.
Well, that's got you up out of your seat, Gazy.
Oh, love it. Very special. I'm sure Cookie's probably in his ear right now. He's saying, hey, how'd you like that, fella?
That is the second best. He does. They're the two best dunks of the season.
No doubt.
Awfully similar. And his ability, like you say, Drew, to cock it back and still throw it down with authority. Over the outstretched hand of the shot blockers. Something very special.
Now Sotto shows his range.
He said, hey, I might be on the poster, but that thing's only worth 2. This sucker's worth 3. Out here, knocks it down.
He's up to 7 points.
They needed it too.
Yeah, didn't score the other night. They're hanging in, aren't they?
They are. Just hanging tough. Keeping it in single digits now.
There's Cooks again. This time, just takes the easy one.
Got to show some more resistance.
Foul him, put him on the free throw line. We've seen he's in all sorts of trouble. That time there, DJ almost just conceded. Now, DJ's only got the 1 foul. But on the almost a 3/4 time, he could even afford to have wasted one then.
And then a turnover. Oh, they get it back lucky. And Sotto, Bruce professionally used all his experiences to give away the foul.
Very good foul. They were in trouble over the top, and they're not in the bonus, the Kings. So very, very well done. But the officials just have a quick look at it. No, simple call. As Buford doesn't think Sotto should be going to the free throw line. I'm inclined to agree.
Might be baseline ball though.
That's baseline. Yeah,
Yep.
Here we go. Gets his way.
So still an important 2 minutes here to finish this quarter. Adelaide haven't been able to peg it back. That's what you do. Go down low to your superstar.
Chase Buford wanting to delay a game. I think that was just a accidental. No intent there to knock the ball away.
Now let's see if Adelaide can get some stops. How do they close out this quarter? Keep it within single digits, cut into this margin a little.
Another turnover. This will favour the 36ers. Frank should be able to finish the play here. Well, they tried to go for the alley-oop with Sotto and then missed from point-blank range.
Twice.
So he's let the Kings off the hook. And Cooks again might make him pay. He's going to go to the foul line.
Well, that's now one of the most terrifying sights in the NBL. Xavier Cooks getting downhill with an intention to get on the rim.
Putting all big men on notice.
We can do it so quickly and, like I said, without a lot of run-up. We'll need to get a bit of momentum, but he can explode off just 1 or 2 steps. But this is the only area of his game that is really causing him some problems.
He's 4 from 8 tonight. Make it 4 from 9. It's strike.
It's not a horrifically bad shooting technique either. It's to me, it's right there. Just a few things you might want to look at, but overall, it's not shockingly bad.
Shooting less than 50% for the season. He makes 1 of 2. That's 5 of 10 now from the stripe, up to 13 points. Let's go with his 5 rebounds, a couple assists. And a good matchup with Franks. He's trying to lift his team, although that's poor. So a couple of mistakes in 30 seconds for Robert Franks. He's gifting the Sydney Kings this lead.
It's been a bad couple of possessions. Xavier cooked up that 3-on-1 opportunity, trying to lob it over the top, and then the turnover there. A chance to finish the quarter strong, going begging for Adelaide.
Cooks will hand it off to Bruce, who wanted the foul. Refs will let them play. Bruce, first points for him this afternoon. Came at a big moment. Didn't score the other night either against Cairns in 25 minutes. Sean Bruce, had been a while between drinks, but that was an important one. Just continue to keep that buffer as Marshall tried to create. I heard Chase Buford want 1 shot, but Silvich doesn't like that when he catches with his feet set. He said, sorry, coach.
I reckon that was a no, yes.
And all of a sudden, Adelaide, they were within 8. They had the chance to get within 5 or 6, and now it's back to 15. A game-high 15-point lead. Right on the stroke of 3/4 time. Can Marshall peg it back? He can't. And for all their hard work, the Sydney Kings won the third quarter. Get much easier in this NBL competition. Next week they'll host the Perth Wildcats on Friday, the Adelaide 36ers, and Perth found some form beating New Zealand. And then they go and play the Southeast Phoenix on the Sunday. So it's important for Adelaide to continue to get the wins after their sort of slow start. They've won 3 of their last 4. Nice cut from Glover. It's a good look from Walton Jr. What about that? Eyes in the back of his head.
That's the ball movement, the movement off the ball. Just weren't standing around and waiting to catch on the 3-point line. This defense turns the head. Glover reads that, splits between them, and beautiful find. And that's all it can take, is when you're on that weak side and you're trying to pick up a backdoor cut. It's a lot of the times you're just reading the eyes of your defender, and as soon as they turn their head or they lose vision, you sneak behind them. It's tough to recover.
Can have a coach's challenge here. So CJ Bruton not convinced that it was a foul. Potentially on Mitch McCarron, so I'll check it out.
I reckon he probably needed a timeout anyway, so maybe he's thinking at this stage it's getting pretty desperate. And Mitch McCarron did not touch him at all by looking at that angle. Sometimes it can be a little deceiving.
We're not saying we might have a coach's challenge and successful. We haven't had too many, have we?
Well, it's just that left arm. Did he come down and hit Glover on the shoulder? Which it does not, from that angle, it does not look like there's any contact.
That angle looks like just hit the ball, flipped the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, did he hit the shoulder on the way down?
Well, from the other angle, it doesn't look like it. Either way, it had almost no impact on the shot. In fact, the ball, when he actually hit the ball, was the one that might have caused Glover some issues, but he plays straight through it.
That one's not definitive. Because
it is from the other angle.
But the other one, I think it is.
Here.
I think here, a little piece of the ball.
Goes straight by him.
Nothing else. And I think he's a chance to win that challenge.
You're saying it's going to be successful?
If this is not overturned, I don't know what they're looking at. Because you can see the gap between the shoulder.
Let's take a listen. Let's see, Gazy.
Coach's challenge is successful. The call is overturned. The basket counts for Sydney. Adelaide have the ball on the baseline.
There you go. Oh, no. Easy.
They get an extra timeout. Well, they don't lose their timeout.
Keep their challenge.
Keeps the challenge.
Chase Buford knows now Adelaide have got to go. Got to get moving.
They do. They need quick baskets.
Exporting some of the bench into the game now. CJ Bruton, Sunday Detch will come in. Kai Sotto.
Well, there's the difference too. You saw it in the last couple of possessions. Adelaide are basically meeting the defence at the 3-point line and really allowing the offence to come up, set up and get into something. Right there, they're meeting them at the centre line and just not meeting them, putting pressure on and threatening a double team and making it a lot tougher for the Adelaide 36ers on the offensive end.
Sotto again, helping himself to 9 points. It's been important today to look at the turnovers. Just the 8 turnovers for the Sydney Kings. They had 21 in that loss to Cairns last week, so I'm sure something they spoke about.
Yeah, they've looked after it a bit better. Cairns, that team puts a lot of pressure on you. Really disruptive as Walton Jr. brings up his 10th assist to the game. A double-double for Walton Jr. as Suarez finishes that play. His first double-double of the season. 3 games with 8 dimes. Tonight, he has been putting it on a platter.
Season high 10 dimes. He might make it 11. He might just throw this one up for Simon. Detch was onto it. Could have been another highlight. And then Harris just took his eye off the ball. Almost sums up the day for the Adelaide 36ers.
Well, you know what? That's just what your mind's gotten ahead of you and you're not executing the actual play. He was trying. He saw his teammate open, but he was passing it about 3 seconds before he actually caught it. And stumbled a little bit, got off balance, and a simple play becomes really hard and ends in a turnover.
Here's Vasilovic, tries to hand it off to Suarez. It's one off the season high. He's got the 13 points. Vasilovic got the 15. 3 of 6 from beyond the arc today.
We needed that. He needed to see a few go through. 0 of 8 in his last couple of games. He missed 17 straight three-pointers before he connected on his first one. It was actually his second attempt this afternoon. Sotto hasn't come in all that bashful. When he gets it, he's a shoot-first 5-man.
There's Galloway. Thought about throwing it down, just didn't quite have the elevation. I'll give it back to Sotto. I'll go to the free throw line. Then we're going to go down to Joe Healy, who's got a special guest with her courtside.
I certainly do. It's always good to see who comes out to the NBL on the weekends. I'm pleased to say I've got the host of Bachelor Australia, Osher Gunsberg, with me. Osh, you're here with the family. How are you enjoying the game and the atmosphere?
So great. This is the earliest game of the season because we're still in kind of early nap time, so to bring Wolfie along to his first basketball game is just the best.
Sydney Kings fans, I take it?
I grew up in Brisbane, so I was Bullets for a long time, but Audrey's from Sydney, and to be a part of the Kings vibe is just fantastic. It's great to be here.
You've become very familiar with one of our own at the NBL, our very own Felix von Hoff, who's one of the 3 bachelors in the new series. What's filming been like? Because I imagine he's been as cheeky as always.
He's an extraordinary human being and has some fantastic tales to tell about his college days, let me tell you. Yeah, the man, like unbelievable March Madness stories from him, because I've always wanted to talk to someone who's been through that, and it's incredible. He thinks so incredibly well. He's such a nice guy. But yeah, cheeky. He does all right. They do all right. They're lovely guys.
I know he looks the part. Some of the boys in commentary have told me that they never thought that he'd find someone to be able to put up with him, though. Can you give us a bit of dirt? Is he going to find the love of his life in this series?
I can tell you that the next season of The Bachelor is like something you've never seen before, and the biggest challenge, certainly for someone like, I found it with Felix, I had to talk to him in sports anecdotes all the time, because, you know, ultimately, like, he's gorgeous, he's successful, but he's still single for a reason. So, search inside yourself. You had to look for the reason. You got to look for the reason. And, you know, is he brave enough to do it? We'll find out.
I imagine he doesn't stop talking on set either.
He's a passionate man who goes about life passionately, and you know what's wild is in the driveway of the Bachelor Mansion on the Gold Coast, there was a hoop, there was a basketball hoop, and he's just like in a full suit. I'll just see if I still got it, and then he's like, still got it. Like before the show every day, he would do it.
He tried that on the NBL court in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago as well. It didn't go so well. Now, when you come to games like this, you see the athletes out here. Are you doing a little bit of scouting for the next series as well?
No, I'm scouting for when I own my own basketball franchise, and look, honestly, Sean Bruce is an assassin, and he's got my first pick.
He certainly is. Okay, good to know. You heard it here first. Osh, thank you so much for your time and good luck for the series.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Osher. There's some life advice, Gazy. Find it within yourself. Well, that was going on. Suarez continued to score. We spoke about his range earlier. He's got a season-high 18 points, Tim Suarez, so he's had himself a handy game.
Well, he's been good. 2 of those knockdowns from long range, but done a lot of work around the rim as well. Adelaide have had a bit of trouble defending in that painted area.
And swatted that one away. Tried to lob for Harris, and this game's just turned into a bit of pick-up ball at the moment. Simon misses a layup. Galloway thought about it. Now they'll try and run a little bit of offense. Glover bounces out. Didn't get the home court roll.
The Adelaide 36ers, they got away with one on Friday. They got out of jail at home, and they didn't play great at all. They won, but they didn't play well, and they have not looked good here this afternoon either. So there's been a lot of talk about their roster and potential changes, and let's not forget Drimmick. He was an important part over the last couple of weeks, and not having him is a significant out. But when you look at this and it's trying to be objective with it, I think that they might have to up the tempo with their search for another player. If they have aspirations of winning the whole thing, they can still be a really, really good team. But I think they need someone else if they're going to contend for a title.
No, I agree with you, and CJ agrees with you. He said that last night. I mentioned, he said, you know, we're not close right now, but he also said we're going to need a third import if we're going to contest for this championship. And, yeah, I mean, that's become blatantly obvious over the course of this weekend. You're right, and especially in this one.
So just a slight reality check for the 36ers. You think they'd won 3 or 4. There was a lot of talk about the momentum. Some people thought they were going to get on a roll.
Yeah.
But just a little reality check that maybe they, as you said, they are a bit away from the top teams.
That's right, and to Liam's defence, it does hurt when you don't have a guy like Drimmick who had become a important part of it. The other couple of weeks ago against Melbourne United, when it got it all started, what did he play? 37, 38 minutes in that game. So he was an integral part of what they're doing. He brings a lot of energy at both ends of the floor. But yeah, it hasn't been a great weekend for him. But having said that, they still split this weekend. It hasn't been a disaster for them. So they've been able to dodge a bullet, and they need to regroup and try and get back on playing some better basketball.
I just saw Cal Bruton there wearing one of those Indigenous jerseys, because Indigenous round will kick off next week. Look at those jerseys. They are brilliant. And make sure you get the NBL store, check it out. Great concept. It'll run over a couple of weeks. Supporting Indigenous round the NBL, doing wonderful things. There's Marshall, just gets a nice little fadeaway there.
One thing to remember here, guys, I don't know, it really feels like an opportunity missed here for Adelaide. Had all that momentum late in that third quarter. Yeah, this is a blowout. Yeah, they've got some garbage time here and some guys getting some runs. It's almost a 20-point margin. It was so close to being a 6-point game at that point, with Adelaide having momentum as Bawali Bales sticks that one from mid-range.
Well, he's another one that was in the rotation early on in the season. He's maybe had a few injuries along the way, fallen out of favour a little bit as well. So these minutes, they are junk minutes, but for some of those players that are trying to earn time, you want to make sure that you make the most of whatever limited opportunities you have. And Bales with a potential and one has impressed in his minute or so. Knocks down a 3-ball, comes in a little Euro step. And what about this? Beautiful. The saliva in my mouth is just building up now, thinking of the Whopper.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Gaze with Hungry Jack's NBL. Whopper your way to LA. All you got to do is grab any large burger meal at Hungry Jack's and enter your receipt code to win 4 tickets, flights, spending money and accommodation to a basketball game in the USA. That'll be nice as Bales finishes the 3-point play, making the most of his couple of minutes on the floor.
A couple of guys getting some run. Don't usually get some action. Here comes Fiston Aposu. Depth player for the 36ers.
Kings won't have too much time to enjoy this one. Boys, they've got to go to play New Zealand on Thursday night in New Zealand, so that will be an absolute cracker. We will find out who the best team in the competition is Thursday night. Take a look at the Amy replay. Nice little Euro step.
Beautiful finish from Bawali Bales.
Who would you take right now, Gazy? Thursday night, New Zealand, Sydney in New Zealand.
No, I'm still with New Zealand on their home deck. And I know that Sydney went over there and got away with a win a couple of weeks ago, I think it was.
Cooks got hurt.
They did, and they did their best to give this the opportunity for the New Zealand Breakers, but no, I think New Zealand, to me, at both ends of the floor, they right now are the team to beat. And I know that's coming off a little setback they had yesterday for them, but a great win by the Wildcats. Wasn't that a good turnaround for them? Going on the road, picking up a huge win.
Sydney will go to 9-3 with this win, so they will consolidate second spot. There'll be a bit of a gap between Sydney and New Zealand, which we know is important because you get straight through the semi-finals. Top 2.
Massive.
We speak about top 6, but top 2 is crucial. And they're just putting a bit of a gap on the competition. The Sydney Kings.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. A couple of teams there. Cairns, Southeast Melbourne, these teams hoping Sydney and New Zealand might just stumble at some point, but not today.
They flexed their muscles, the Sydney Kings, on their home floor. Adelaide came full of confidence and go home with their tail between their legs because the Sydney Kings got the job done.
Thank you for watching. Kung nagustuhan mo ang video na ito ay mag-subscribe ka na sa ating channel. Paki-follow na rin ang ating Facebook page, Utak Pilipinas. Again, this is D Sports TV. Paalam!